what we mean there is that discourse becomes embedded in all sorts of practices and technologies and senses of self. And in that sense, the discourse isn't just a set of ideas. It actually informs actions. It forms how we think about ourselves. Am I worthwhile because I earn a living through the paid labour force? Or am I, just a housewife or something? That there's a kind of sense in which a vision of economy which gives value to certain categories and certain kinds of practices and devalues others sort of starts to inform the subject and how the subject talks about themselves. So there's a kind of performativity then to the sort of subject positions that are seen as real economic ones and ones that are seen as social or not as important, or At the same time, economic discourse gets lodged into kind of technologies of accounting. So, for instance, we could look at the way in which national accounts are seen as measuring what an economy's output is through the national, gross domestic product and so on, where only certain kinds of activities are measured and enter into that calculus, and other economic activities aren't. And this is where, feminist theorists have argued that like a lot of the labour that goes on in an economy is happening outside of the market in the households, and that's what's creating wealth and well-being. But our economic indicators are all based on a particular set of metrics. So those metrics then perform what it is to think of the American economy or the Canadian economy and whether it's doing well or not doing well. So this is the kind of ways in which we incorporate knowledge into our society, then performs a particular vision of economy. And we can go on thinking about all the different kinds of technologies that make a particular vision of economy more durable and kind of drain effectivity or durability or importance out of all the other economic practices that are actually also producing well-being or producing ways of sustaining ourselves and having livelihoods. So that's a kind of shorthand way of looking at what performativity is, and that whole theory came from linguistics and then was taken into feminism to say how we don't just speak, we also enact. So the classic example is the wedding ceremony, where you don't just, you're talking it through, but in the talking through you actually are enacting a change of status when you say, yes, I'll marry you or I'll obey you or whatever. That has a performative effect that changes things in reality. It's not just something up in the realm of ideas. And of course, feminism has been interested in looking at how certain discourses constrain what women mean and what women mean in a society. So the idea of performativity entered into rethinking and reshaping how we could look at gender relations. That's a whole other story.